Okay, everybody, we are talking about the sales contract, and it looks like it is specific to Maryland. All of these things we've already covered with federal and all of the United States. This is going to be specifically to Maryland, so it might not pertain to you. I don't know how much different it's going to be than what we've already talked about on the other one, but some of the dates might be a little more specific. So you may not need to watch this unless you really want to. I would appreciate it if you watch it. I'm going to try and get through all of this pretty quick because we've already talked about this in another video. And Maryland uses only one form for real estate sales. Right. How does Kiara explain the statement time is of the essence? See, a lot of this we've already talked about. But, okay, this might be more like a review. They need to. Time is of the essence. It doesn't tell me on here either. No, maybe it does. Let me open this up in a new tab. All right. Time of the essence of this contract to perform any act provided within a certain date. Needs to be done within a certain date. Agree to unduly delay the process. You need to move it along. It identifies the date the contract was written. Let's see, not yet reviewed. We got another one. Okay. All right. Who identifies the date the contract was written? Oh my, I don't know. Maybe the buyer provides the name of the seller. Wouldn't that be the seller? Provides the name of the buyer. Contains a legal description. Identifies the manner in which the property is being conveyed. All right, the date of offer. Process of elimination. All right. Parties and property sections. Recap. I'm going through this pretty quick because I doubt it's going to be like a huge watch if it's only specific to one state. So we have international people watching this channel. I want to make all my videos international to everybody and not specific to one state if possible. Okay, specifies the amount of the buyer's offer. It indicates the amount of the earnest money. All right, let's look at this. Why do they keep putting everything in here like this? Identifies the settlement date. Settlement date, maybe it's settlement. Payment terms. Purchase price, payment terms. Okay, pretty good. Okay. Earnest money deposits. If the buyer is putting earnest money down, the buyer must specify the exact amount in the contract. Earnest money must be paid in the form of a cashier's check, I'm guessing. The buyer does not have to provide the earnest money by a specified date as long as it's deposited before the settlement date. I don't know about that. Buyers do not have to put earnest money down. The earnest money is credited against the buyer's close. False. It doesn't have to be in. And buyers do not have to put earnest money down. Really? Okay. Okay. Escrow amount. By law, any deposits made prior to settlement must be in an escrow account. It is in the escrow's account decision whether an interest-bearing or not. No, it is not the escrow agent. It has to be in an interest-bearing account. True. Okay. Unless the buyer defaults, any interest that is made on the deposit while it is an interest-bearing escrow account is given to the buyer. Okay, this is false. Is not allowed to charge a fee for establishing an interest-bearing account. Okay. True, false, false, true. So they can charge a fee for establishing an interest-bearing account. Well, that is the news to me because I did not know that. Any deposits made prior to settlement must be in an escrow account. Which of the following is true about down payments? All right, we reviewed everything, so I don't know. Okay, the balance of the down payment must be a personal check. Down payments are deposited in an escrow. No. Okay, earnest money deposit and down payment are the same thing. No. Okay. Okay, balance of the down payment must be paid to the settlement agent at settlement. It is the buyer's responsibility to propose a realistic settlement date. Oh, I don't think that's there. Settlement date must be a specific date. Settlement dates are not negotiable. False. True. It is the buyer's responsibility to propose a realistic date. I always thought it would be something else. Okay. All right. Deposit and settlement sections recap. Financing. Indicates the purchase of the property is contingent upon the buyer securing a loan. States that the buyer may pursue other financing at their own discretion. Okay, so the first one is financing, the second one is financing application. I'm guessing. Okay. Are also sale contracts contingent on financing? I would think so. Okay. No? All right. No, they might be paying cash. I guess I didn't think of that. All right. Once the seller accepts the buyer's offer and the contract is finalized, the buyer has a certain number of days to apply for financing. All right. Well, let's go over here and look at this. And why is this so small? My God. I can barely even read this. Okay, never mind. Open in full screen. Still kind of small, but okay. All right. It's your responsibility to get a written contract or commitment from a lender. It's contingent upon the ability to get a loan commitment. Okay. The buyer has a certain number of days to apply for financing. I mean, I would think they would already have that done before they even put in an offer. All right, if the buyer is unable to secure a loan commitment within the days specified, the buyer must notify the seller. True. No, that's not true. Okay, this is false. The seller can contract. Null and void. True. False. Financing recap. All right, basically you got to obtain a loan and apply for it, and the purchase property is contingent upon financing. Next, we're going to look at environmental inspections, inclusions, and exclusions. We got 7 lessons here. That's why we're moving a little fast. Okay, the buyer is not given the option of making the purchase of the house contingent upon home inspections. What is the question here? Review each statement. Is it true or false? I mean, they need to be given thing. I don't understand the way they're wording this. If the seller agrees, the buyer can make the purchase of the house contingent upon home inspections or other inspections. Any inspection contingency the buyer wants must be attached to addendum. The cost of having a home environmental performed is shared by the seller and buyer. No, only the buyer pays. They want it done. It's for them. It's for their peace of mind, so they need to pay for it. All right. Recommendation. What's true when providing recommendations for a home inspection? She's required to verify the license status on a yearly basis. I don't think so. Must provide a description of the licensing requirements for the type of service provider. Maybe. No, I don't think so. She must include the date of their license status. I think that the buyer should do most of that. Okay. Verify the license status. Really? Okay. Well, I have never did that as a real estate agent. Must provide a description of the license requirements. All right. A link where they can look it up, and you must include the date you verified it. Must provide a description. Okay, that's false. I don't do any of that. I never did any of that stuff for them. I figure that they can look that up themselves. If a buyer wants to check out a home inspector or whoever, I mean, I guess it's a good idea before you recommend somebody to do that. But most of the time we're too busy as real estate agents to be going around verifying whether somebody is legitimately licensed or not. And what two ways the inclusions and exclusions section used? All right, let's see. Christ, here we go again. It's super small. Okay. At your own expense, make the contract contingent upon environmental inspections. And this is what you need to sign. You want to make it contingent that they need to have a home inspection and a environmental inspection. What ways is it used? Oh, two ways, okay. All right, you want to indicate what you want to leave behind that you would normally remove. And this has to do with removing anything that would remain. All right, basically, this is a pretty quick chapter. So you just want to identify items that will be excluded from the sale of the property. If the person wants to take their wind chimes with them, then they need to put that in there. They're wind chimes that are almost attached to the house, by the way. Because normally if they're attached to the house in some way, then the buyer is going to get them. If they need to go through a lot of stuff to take it down, such as a light or a chandelier or something, they want to take the chandelier with them, then they need to make sure they put that in there. Otherwise, it's going to go to the buyer. Okay, every property sold is subject to agricultural land tax? I don't think so. I don't think that's every land. Let's open it up and see. Open in full screen. It's agriculturally assessed property. It's not every single land. Every property that's sold, oh my God. The agriculture is in addition to any transfer tax. It was designed to preserve land and wood. Increase the income of Maryland residents who sell timber. Anyone who owns 5 acres can make an agreement with the natural resources. This is true. And if you want to put that up for sale, the landowner has to notify the buyer that it is subject to the agreement for the natural resources. Hey, that's my kind of house. 5 acres or more. All right, we're getting there. We're on lesson 6, lead-based paint. This is pretty simple. Applies to, here we go again. I hate these little pictures. Oh my God, it's so hard to see. I don't understand why they keep doing this. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. Seller and agent involved in this transaction are required to retain a lead-based disclosure form, and they have to give the paint and they have to give the pamphlet out to whoever is buying it. It requires contractors to perform cover work for homes built in 1978. Requires land dwellers to register their homes if it was built before 1978. All right. If they're built prior to 1978, you have to, as a salesperson, give the buyers a copy of the pamphlet. And believe me, you'll have them all over the place. By law, you have to keep an agreement, purchase agreement for lands built. I mean, you have to do that for any home, but they're saying 1978. You have to keep the disclosure on hand. But you're going to do that anyway because you have to keep these things on file. You have to keep your records in Maryland for 5 years at least. So I don't know about other states, but okay, it's part of the disclosure. They must acknowledge their part in ensuring the seller is compliant with the law. Must keep a copy of the disclosure form. No. Okay, what does this say? For a period of 1 year from the date of settlement. I think it's got to be 3 years. Okay. And this one is the buyer can waive the opportunity to have a risk assessment. Okay, this is false and this is true, I believe. Okay. All right, both federal and Maryland give the buyers the right to conduct a risk assessment on whether the property has lead-based paint. We already went through this on a federal level. We did a video on this. The assessment must be conducted within 5 days. I don't know about 5 days. Oh boy, here we go again. This is impossible to read. I'm going to turn it off. Okay. I don't think it's 5 days, but I'm going to go ahead and put true. Lead-based inspection addendum makes the sales contract contingent upon the results. If the problems are discovered, they have 10 days to get the hazard fixed. If inspection reveals it, the seller is required to address the issues, make necessary repairs, and these repairs need to be done before settlement with a proof of repairs. Okay, so we got a lot wrong on this, so let's look at this. The assessment must be conducted within 10 days after the contract is fully ratified. Okay, that's why this is wrong. I remember I said I don't think that was right. Okay. All right, let's look at this and see what we got wrong here. If anybody needs to do any screenshots, I will try and slow down for you. Okay, so this one is okay, so This one is the buyer has 5 days to send a copy of the report, not 10 days. All right, this is false. The seller may decline to address and fix the issues. Wow, that's interesting. So they do not have to, by law, fix anything. Okay. So I guess if they don't fix it and you want them to fix it, then you can get. You don't need to continue with the sale. You can just go find another house. You know, if they don't want to fix it and you need it fixed, because you don't want to be going into a lead-based paint house, especially if you got children. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Okay. All right. The buyers elect to have the sales contract contingent on the results of the lead-based inspection. The risk assessment or inspection must be performed within 10 days of the contract ratification. And if problems are found, the seller is not required to abate the hazards. But if the seller chooses to fix the issues, the seller must pay to have the repairs done, and they must be completed before settlement. Basically, that's the recap. All right, our last lesson here on this sales contract is deferred water and sewer assessments. Let's see, it's probably another picture, isn't it? Yeah. And you can barely see this, so it was probably even smaller on a phone or an iPad. All right, so I'm not going to pull it up because it's probably too small, and I'll lose half of you with that kind of stuff. Front door benefit charges. I have never heard of that, but I'll put that in there and see what happens. If fees may only be assessed to cover charges a municipality incurred in the construction and installation of water and sewer. I have no idea. All right, we're going to put yes. The seller must disclose any deferred water or sewer charges in the contract. Maybe it's something on here. Here we go. Disclosure quick reference. Disclosure of condominium resale, conservation easement, license status, any disclosures on water and sewer, disposals, ground rent, all these have to be disclosed. All right, the first one is false. It's called front foot benefit charges, not front door. Okay. Yes, I've heard of front foot, not front door. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. No wonder I didn't know what they were talking about. I'm like, what is front door? Okay. Specifies that the seller and buyer agree to sell and purchase the property with no inspections or contingencies. All right. Gives buyer the notice of any restrictions that limit the property use. I would say that is a conservation easement. Reveals a brokered business relationship. Affiliated business disclosure. Identifies the amount a seller that will credit the buyer towards settlement costs. Seller contribution. Required tests on water sources. Gives the buyer the chance to compete with other offers. No inspections, no contingencies, as is. Okay, those are all the addendums. So more addendums. Okay, so Edward is representing his sister as a selling agent. He has to disclose this relationship. Hillary is very concerned that she paid too much. She plans to attach a short sale addendum form to the contract to ensure that she ultimately pays no more for the property than the appraised value. Now, I never heard of that before, but I'm going to put yes. just to see if we get it wrong or right. Okay, Kiki is selling her house, and although she has no offers on the table, she is completely happy with the buyer's loan contingency. She wants to accept all other offers and asks her agent to write up a kick-out clause. Is the correct addendum? Maybe. I've never heard of anybody wanting to do that, so I don't know. But we're going to put yes. All right, addendum to the purchase offer about Maryland lead-based paint hazard inspection. They don't want anything exposed to their children, so they want to make it contingent that they pass the lead base. I think they're going to need more than that. I think they're going to need a radon inspection too, but we're going to put yes for now. All right. Gareth needs to sell his home before he can close on the property. With the help of an agent, he completes the lease or other addendum. I think he needs a contingency form. I think he did. So we'll just put yes. If I don't know, I'm going to put yes just to see. If we get it wrong, then we know we're wrong. Okay. Harry has a serious financial issue. He's forced to sell his home in a short sale. As part of the sales contract, he must complete the third-party approval form. I do believe this is correct because I have been involved in a short sale. Okay, so we got a couple wrong, of course. Okay, this one is no. And it is no because she needs to complete the cash conventional financing appraisal contingency. Did you all get that? This could be on the test. So she is paid too much. She wants to go to appraisal contingency addendum. It is not a short sale form. The other no is this one here. They have not selected the correct form. So that's what I said originally, that they're probably going to need more than that if they want to discover radon and other stuff. They're going to need a different form for that. They're going to need to complete the property inspection addendum, which covers all of the radon, the mold, and other dangerous conditions, because the lead base only covers lead base. Okay. And this one was no. I think the rest of them were yes. Okay. All right, we need to move on and try and get the test in on this. It is 10 questions, and I'm going to try it once. If I don't pass it, then we will probably have to do it in another video. Provide the date she verified the license status. Okay, Retta received the inspection report. She found evidence of lead base within 10 days. She's 10-day deadline. She makes sure the sellers get a copy and give them a guideline on how they should fix this. What's wrong with this scenario? I think it's 5 days she has. I think condos. I don't know about condos. No, I think it's 5 days. All right, Reginald and his wife Regina. Oh my goodness. Our property they're buying is currently being used as a blank. Consequently, the land will be used subject to the agricultural land transfer. What is the purpose of the earnest money? To ensure the seller that the buyer is serious about going through this purchase. In order for buyers to use alternate financing, they must meet several conditions. Which of the following is one of those conditions? The buyer must obtain the seller's written consent to alternative financing. If Cynthia and her husband need to secure a loan in order to purchase the property, which of the following are they required to do to satisfy the financing provision? Obtain a written commitment from the lender that they are approved for financing. Usually this is done before you even start looking at houses. That way you have an idea of what range of price to look at. We're unable to obtain financing within a certain period. They have sent the seller written notice, and including evidence that they were unable to qualify a loan, declaring the contract null and void. Which of the following statements is true? Their deposit will probably be returned to them. Okay, which form can a buyer pay the balance of the down payment? Cash, wire, checks, bank fund, or certified check. Which of the following must a buyer meet before they can use alternative financing? The seller must consent to the use of financing. Lola and Rick's offer on the property is contingent upon financing. What happens if they cannot obtain financing? They must let the seller know, or they will have to put it on temporary hold until they can find other ways to finance it. All right, we pay us, which is good because we're running out of time. So let's look at this super fast. Okay. All right, the buyer must obtain the seller's written consent to use alternative. Okay, that's not right, apparently. Okay. The time allowed to secure financing is not exceeded. All right, the time allowed to secure. Okay, there must be a time limit on securing the financial commitment. Let's look at the other one. Okay, the same kind of thing. Okay, there must not be an added expense to the seller. Okay, so if they want to use alternative financing, they don't have to get permission from the seller, but it cannot be an added expense to the seller. Okay, we're going to have to end this video because it's like way too long. I appreciate you all.